Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back. While the Wesley Girls School controversy is still being debated, let's set some records straight before it cools down. So, if you have watched my previous video relevant to this, then I humbly request that you watch this video and, if possible, share it to anyone who it may interest. This video is not responding to some Christian Ghanaians or Ghanaian Christians who have come in my previous video to comment with attacks and to spam that particular post. In fact, I did delete some comments and also blocked some users to ensure that my news feed is safe for the good viewers out there. Now, the Wesley Girls School controversy is not an isolated case. However, my video, the previous one, discussed the nature of that debate. Wesley Girls High School, which is a missionary school, against a Muslim parent with a ward in that school. Therefore, whatever I have said in that video remains as it is. If there will be any misunderstanding or disagreement, then it will be as a result of how we define education differently, how we perceive the need for education, and what it means to have a quality education, and why we should or we should not send our children to Christian missionary schools. Now, the question will be, why is it majority of Muslims in Ghana are in support of the lawsuit that has been taken against the Wesley Girls School? Let's look at it like this. I mentioned that the case is not an isolated case, but imagine that domestic abuse case has been highlighted in the media. Regardless of the details of that case, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of real victims of domestic abuse. So these real victims of domestic abuse, the moment they see any news regarding domestic abuse, they put themselves in the shoes of the victims, supposed victims of the reported domestic abuse. They are genuine victims. However, the perceived victim in that reported case may not necessarily be a victim. They may not be. So because these people have experiences, they automatically fall in and come in defense of the perceived victim in the reported case, even before any details have been highlighted or made public. This is how I see why my Muslim brothers are reacting to the Wesley Girls High School controversy. I have received messages of students who have experienced being denied the right to pray in national schools. National schools, not missionary schools. So if Ghana is a secular state where everyone has a freedom to practice any religion of their choice, why will anyone be stopped to practice his religion when he needs to practice it, not during class time, during break time? Why will anyone stop them? Cases where Muslim children are forced to break fast in Ramadan in national schools, again, not in missionary schools. If missionary schools, like my previous video has mentioned, they have the right to do what they want, national schools don't have that right. That is why majority of Ghanaians, Muslim Ghanaians, are actually reacting in support of the court case which has been raised against the Wesley Girls School. So many have put themselves in the shoes of the child who was denied prayers in the Wesley Girls School. So not necessarily it is because they are against the school. But then again, my video was not about parents and children from national school suing national schools or their government for mistreating them or denying them their constitutional rights. Had the court case been from Muslim parents and their children being denied the right to pray, the right to perform, to observe their religious obligations, or being forced in national schools to perform and practice other religion, the conversation will have been totally different. In fact, my submission will have been totally different. I do understand why majority of Muslims are in support of that, but at the same time, we have the choice to discuss matters like this emotionally or discuss it academically, especially as far as we Muslims are concerned. I did make a mention that Islamic schools, we will not allow non-Muslims to come and be performing idol worshipping practices in Islamic schools. We shouldn't allow that. But that doesn't mean that in Islamic schools, we will force non-Muslim students to perform Islamic rituals, like to force them into Friday prayers, like to force them into performing our 5 times daily prayers. No Muslim or Islamic school will ever do that. But some missionary schools are doing that or have been reported to be doing that. Since you have watched to this point, as a Muslim viewer, even a non-Muslim viewer, in Ghana, to be specific, as Muslim communities, we have our social illness, social problems, be it at leadership level, be it at family level, be it at marriage relationships level, be it at individual level. We have our problems. And these problems are for us to solve them by ourselves. No system can solve them for us. It will be unfortunate and a failed attempt, if I can use that word, to seek for our problems to be solved for us externally. Since we have the Quran, we have the Sunnah. If we go out of Islamic educational framework to seek progress for our communities, we are likely going to be doomed, because no progress at the expense of our faith, and no failure when our faith remains intact. We have to be clear on this. The faith we instill and nurture in our children plays a very crucial, significant role. And the education we provide for our children is what is going to help us to achieve that in our children. That education may be formal, it may also be informal. But Islamic education is crucial, and it cannot be compromised in ensuring our children, Muslim children, grow on a solid worldview. A year ago or so, I posted 3 different videos, all of which are closely related and relevant to the topic at hand. If you have watched my previous video on Wesley Girls School controversy, as well as this particular video, then I strongly encourage your good self to make some time and give it a watch, because it gives a clear definition of what Islamic education is about and why we need it as Muslims, and why we have no excuse whatsoever to deprive our children of Islamic education. One of the video highlights mispractice of non-Islamic activities that are allowed in some so-called Islamic schools. And one of the videos is talking to my dear children, my dear kids, school-going children. So if this topic interests you, Islamic education and Muslim education and bringing up our children upon our faith interests you, then I strongly encourage your good self and invite you to make some time and give those videos a watch. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it beneficial to you, and may He accept from your good self the time you are going to spend watching those videos and the time you have spent watching this video and the previous video. May He grant us what it takes to better and purify our dunya for the best interest of our akhirah. Until the next, I leave you in his protection. See you in Jannah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.